Hello, my friends. How are y'all doing out there today? I hope that you're doing well. So today we have the same thing we have over and over and over, and that is Donald Trump accomplishing absolutely nothing or potentially making the situation worse than when he started messing around with it and taking a victory lap and cheering on his fans, cheering on all the amazing things that Donald Trump has done. Because, my friends, here we are once again, similar to the UK deal just a few days ago. The victory lap has started. The celebration has started. Pop the champagne tops. Donald Trump has made a deal with China, is what they're all trying to convince us of. But that's not actually what's really going on here. So we got a lot to go over with this deal with China. I would say that a lot of MAGA owes me an apology, but I'm never going to get that because I predicted exactly what was going to happen. Not because I'm smart, though. It's not anything like that. It's because I've watched Donald Trump do the same bullshit over and over, and it's just a fucking pattern at this point. So just with a little bit of pattern recognition, you can start to see that Donald Trump is going to do his nonsense yet again. So there has been much hype around the fact that Donald Trump was making a huge deal with China, and I was told yesterday that I was going to eat my words when I said Donald Trump was going to find a way to fuck this up too, and I got good news and bad news to go along with that, and they're both the same sentence. I'm not going to have to eat my words. That's good news for my ego. My pride is still intact, my friends, but it is bad news for the American people. So, if I was a person that was only worried about myself, only thought about what was good for me, I would have just voted MAGA and then been on the internet pissed off because shit keeps backfiring in my fucking face. But I give a shit about the people of America, and, well, this is not good. So let's get into a little bit of the details on this victory lap that Donald Trump is taking. So, as we know, Donald Trump has jacked the tariffs up to 145% on China before this trade deal. We got to do air quotes a lot more around here these days, right? If you just believe it, then you'll see it, just the bullshit like that. But this trade deal, 145% tariffs, which is basically an embargo. You can't afford to buy shit from China at that point. Small businesses bitching about how they're going under. Look, I say bitching lovingly. Some people obviously have a right to be upset, but as we covered in yesterday's video, when you tweet about how you're voting for Donald Trump to own the libs and because he's going to make the economy better, and then you come back a few months later and bitch that you can't afford to keep your shoe business running because you can't afford the tariffs, well, you kind of fucked up, and that's your problem. And that guy was definitely bitching, from yesterday's video, of course. So anyways, with the 145% tariff, he is nearing sending the economy into recession. The first quarter had a negative GDP. We need 2 quarters consecutively to be officially in a recession, and Donald Trump isn't doing anything to fix that. As a matter of fact, he's making everything fucking worse. So the likelihood of us officially being in a recession when the next quarter's numbers come out, if we keep following the trajectory of what Donald Trump is doing, are substantially high. We will probably hit a recession. He caused a lot of dock workers to lose work. He has caused a lot of truckers to be out of work, and that is just starting. See, the supply chain lags behind a little bit, well, for like months sometimes before you start to see things, and the supply chain is officially broken. There is a mass shortage of freight coming into the ports from China, and even if these tariffs work out, which they won't, give me a few minutes, we're getting there. Even if they did work out, it's going to take time to reestablish that supply chain, and the ripple effects will be felt through the economy here pretty soon. So this is all the things Donald Trump fucked up, which, I don't put it past him anymore. That's kind of his legacy as president. Well, as a business owner too. How the fuck do you bankrupt a casino? The house always wins, stupid. You gotta be dumb as fuck to bankrupt a casino. That's absolutely ridiculous. But anyways, these are all the effects of everything that's been done. So I was told I was going to eat my words because I know that these trade talks were not going to do anything productive whatsoever. And I do not have to eat those words because I was 100% right. Let's get into the details here of what's going on. So the tariffs have been lowered from 145% all the way down to 30% on imports coming into America, coming from China. And then imports from America going into China are at a 10% tariff. So let me explain what's going on with that. At 30%, American people, the people of America, the small business owners, the big business owners, everybody in America that buys goods from China, which is a substantial high number of the goods you buy, are all still going to pay a 30% tariff, which is an astronomically fucking high tariff. So by knocking it down from 145%, which is essentially an embargo, which is why the supply chain is broken right now, you have still put a massive fucking tariff on American people having any kind of contact with Chinese goods. In short, you fixed fucking nothing. But the Chinese people did okay on this. Now, the 10% tariff still pretty high. I mean, that's I don't know what the standard tariff rate is, but when we were going through the UK deal, right, the last victory lap Donald Trump did, UK was, I think that their standard tariffs for imports was around 1%, and I could be wrong on that, but 1%, the difference between 1% and 10% is still pretty fucking substantial. But the people of America are now paying 30% on Chinese tariffs. The people of China are now paying, on Chinese imports to America. You get what I meant. The people in China are now paying 10% on imports into China from America. So if you need help in layman's terms understanding what I'm saying, China just mopped the fucking floor with Donald Trump is what happened in that situation. The Chinese people get a much better rate. We are paying 3 times the rate that they are. I do not know what it's like to be MAGA. I don't know what it's like. There's a lot of you here, and actually I'm glad you're here. I am. Your comments get on my fucking nerves. Believe that. You guys annoy the living shit out of me with your cult-like behavior, but I'm glad you're here because you have been living in a fucking echo chamber of lies for a long fucking time. And the fact that you're taking time to listen to what I'm saying is progress. That's about as good a news as you get in this fucking country sometimes. So I'm glad that you're here, but I don't understand what it's like to be MAGA. What must be going through your brain? Let's go through a timeline of events since Donald Trump has won the election. Donald Trump campaigned on how he was going to lower, excuse me, it's all that vaping I do. I start coughing a little bit. He's going to lower, and I need the nicotine to deal with this bullshit, all right? So I don't want to hear from anybody telling me that I need to quit vaping. I ain't going to. I need that goddamn nicotine. You try running a channel where a bunch of MAGA hillbillies show up in your comments. You would need it too. But back on topic. What the fuck was I talking about? Back on topic. Donald Trump campaigned on the fact that he was going to lower prices on day one, the same way that he was going to end the war with Ukraine on day one. Now, most people know that Donald Trump is full of shit, but there is a big enough portion of America's population, allegedly, that believes Donald Trump is telling the truth, and they go vote for the motherfucker, which is so goddamn shocking. We all know that Donald Trump does not have a way to lower prices on day one. We are all we aren't all, but a lot of Americans are rational, reasonable people that know Donald Trump or the president in general does not have a button to smash on his desk to fucking lower prices. That's not a thing they can do. The only button Donald Trump has on his desk is the one that fills his Diet Coke up. That's the button. That's what that button does, okay? We know that these things take time, obviously. But if you're gonna be a blowhard with your fucking chest puffed out talking about how you're going to do things on day one and you campaign on it, you can't bitch when the American population holds you accountable to the fucking words you said to win yourself the election. But even worse than that, Donald Trump did not lower prices on day one. As a matter of fact, most prices in general, you might find a price here or there, but most prices are up since Donald Trump has taken office. He has not lowered the prices whatsoever. He's made things harder for people. So on top of that, Donald Trump starts a bunch of fucking trade wars. and causes prices to go through the fucking roof, causes Canadians to completely boycott America. We got Mitch McConnell calling Canada, crying that they can't sell bourbon anymore. Well, Mitch, do your fucking job and you won't have that problem. The tourism sector of America is getting absolutely obliterated right now because a lot of Canadians used to come to America for their vacation. It's that time of year. Getting absolutely fucking hammered. Donald Trump causing a path of destruction everywhere he fucking goes. Then he starts his shit with China. He starts his shit with Mexico. He starts his shit with basically every country, even one that only inhabits fucking penguins. And then the supply chain gets absolutely destroyed. And it is happening as we speak. I do not give a fuck that the shelves in your local Walmart or local Piggly Wiggly have not been affected yet. That's not how you view the world. That's a very short-sighted, narrow-minded fucking view of how the world and how the country works. Looks good outside my window, fucking everything's fine. That's not how this shit works at all. Glad you're here, MAGA. I am happy to have this talk with you. This is not how the shit fucking works. And then after all the disruptions to the supply chain, dock workers losing their jobs, tourism industry fucking smashed, truckers losing their jobs, fucking Mack trucks closing down, blaming tariffs, and the list just goes on and fucking on of all these things. Donald Trump takes yet another victory lap on a deal that he said he got done, which, by the way, none of these are deals. None of these have gone through Congress. None of them are actually fucking real. It's our spineless Republicans that are allowing him to run amok all over the United States government that allows this shit to fucking happen, but takes a victory lap and fucking then we end up with 30% tariffs. 30% tariffs. We are worse off than where we started. Donald Trump has made things worse since he has taken the office of the presidency. And it is 100% on Donald Trump because he has started all these fucking trade wars. So the point of that very long-winded tangent right there is I don't understand how the fuck this is winning. How do you lose so fucking bad? How do you continue to get the shit kicked out of you by the rest of the world, fail over and over, then American consumers pay a 30% tariff? And 30% is not a small fucking tariff at all. Not at all. Large businesses may be better prepared to absorb that. They're just going to pass the cost on to you, the consumer. But it is still a fucking death sentence to small businesses out there. 100% a death sentence to small businesses to have a 30% tariff. They are not going to be able to overcome that. They are not going to be able to replenish their stock. And Donald Trump continues his crusade against small businesses in America. He did it in his first term, and he's doing it now. Now he's doing it on a much larger scale. Look, the only good example I can give you from the first term is he obliterated the trucking industry. There were so many independent truckers out here on the road before Donald Trump got a hold of us, and he fucking obliterated it. This time, there was probably more, okay? There were probably many small businesses that went under, but that's the example I can think of. This time, he's doing it on a much fucking larger scale. This time he's putting farmers out of business. This time he's fucking putting more truckers out of business. He's putting the dock workers out of jobs. You cannot look at me with a straight fucking face and convince me that this is winning, because this is the exact opposite. We are fucking losing, and we are losing bad over here. And we got a 90 day on these tariffs with China until a deal is worked out. Fine, you want my 90-day prediction? Probably going to end up with extremely low tariffs by the time that this deal is done, if there is a deal done. We'll probably be in that, 0% to 5% range on Chinese tariffs. We will be right back where we fucking started, basically, and Donald Trump will still have made no attempt to bring manufacturing back to America, which is one of his stated goals. But if you start to fucking listen to the son of a bitch, his goals don't make any sense. Tariffs are being put in place so that you won't have to pay income tax anymore, okay? So how does that work if we bring all manufacturing back to America and there's no sense in tariffs anymore because we're not importing anything? Your ass is still paying income tax, working at a bullshit job where they're going to be judging your productivity all day and offering you a 10-cent raise every year if you can keep your shit together. Sounds like you're selling yourself out to fucking billionaires is what it sounds like to me. See why I get so goddamn angry sometimes? Nothing about this makes sense, and we are 100% losing these trade wars. And Donald Trump is making a fucking mockery of the United States with his sheer stupidity when it comes to these tariffs. All right, got that off my chest. I got to get back to work. Love you guys. Bye now.